It's your man, Nyasha T, with some lady.
I'm not involved. This is my own.
This is love, sweet love, coming from the bottom of my heart. It's Nyasha and Nana.
So we thought that we would do a discussion, a marital discussion. We're getting some good discussion while we're talking, but I thought let's turn on the camera, so hopefully the same vibe will be up.
Same vibe.
So
everyone was quiet. No one does anything.
So me and Nana have been together for 5 years, and Tolu and Leke have been together for
Just 4 years.
4 years. So they're 1 year younger than us. But yeah, how have you guys found marriage?
I think it's been I know it's been a great journey. And
Yeah, just looking.
I'm just laughing because it's an impromptu. I know.
Like,
I think it's time to
Yeah.
flow with us.
Right,
we don't know
cool.
what we're doing here, but we're
Don't worry.
somehow producing content for you.
You
So
have
stay
to
tuned.
Question: can I Hamza? Sorry.
Yes.
Can I Hamza the question? Can I Hamza the question? All right. Yeah. No. Marriage has been a journey, a very, 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 very interesting journey. I definitely think I've grown a lot since day one. It's funny because we're actually day one of our marriage. We're talking about in church today. We spoke about we showed pictures of our wedding day and just kind of like how that was a day of joy for us. And we talked about how, you know, we've gone through trials and tribulations, and now we're better in terms of more mature in the faith, especially. And yeah, so it's been great. And honestly, I genuinely feel like I'm riding my best friend.
Oh, brownie point, ding ding.
How about you,
It was annoying, yeah.
Sorry.
She stole my bars.
So Leke, you have nothing to say. In the whole 4 years, you have nothing to say.
No, we did. Girls get points, yeah.
Wow.
How did you say it?
Okay, my turn. My turn.
All
So-
of this,
Wow.
all the time.
Wow.
Hashtag.
No, no, keep it PG. Keep it PG.
I said all of this all the
Okay.
time because I'm a whole snack. I know I'm a snack.
Oh yeah, she's
Wow.
snapped.
So the last 4 years have been.
You sound traumatized.
Last
The last 4 years.
Oh my
The last 4 years. That's what he was doing. He was like,
I'm trying to get my
the last
point.
4 years. Let my man. Oh, I'm sorry, girl.
Right, the last 4 years has been a very interesting journey. To be honest, I've loved every moment about it. And yeah, Tolu stole my bars. But yeah, genuinely, I would say Tolu is my best friend. There was one time I went somewhere, I was playing somewhere, and I was like, this would be so much better if Tolu was here. Like, literally, there's been times I'm like, oh, I wish Tolu was here. So I just sent her a message, miss you, whatever. But it's just the element of understanding that actually, Tolu is my best friend. And that's understanding that that's the foundation of our marriage. Us being friends, being silly, having fun, and yeah. But it's been good.
Yeah.
A lot of learning.
Yeah.
What would you say the hardest thing that you've had to learn though in your marriage?
Why are you covering your mouth?
I think he was gonna throw shade at me.
That was.
The hardest thing for me, I've learned is that I have a lot of pride.
Not my own.
Wow, Nana.
No.
I'm sorry. Serious.
The hardest thing for me is dealing with my pride. I think, you know,
He agrees.
I feel like in relationships we tend to focus on the other person, and that's any relationship with anyone. But it's harder to look inwards and actually admit that sometimes you are the problem. And I think not only is hard. Okay, imagine if you've admitted that, and that's hard. But then now dealing with you being the problem. So I think for me, I've learned that I don't like being the problem. Like, for example, if you have an argument and you know it's like, okay, you know it was your fault. You know. But when you reflect on it, when you reflect on that thing that is... Do you want to step outside?
It's Leke. Did you not hear his laugh?
I've learned to just choose frequency.
Wow, there's a frequency. There's a frequency that you cannot hear.
A heavenly frequency.
Wow.
Oh, my
That's
days.
deep.
But no, yeah, I feel like for me the hardest thing is to deal with your own shortcomings, and because I don't know who said this, but I've seen people say that marriage is like a mirror, that you see who you really are
That's
when you're
deep.
married. Yeah.
I've never heard that before.
Yeah, I'm sure. I've heard
That's true.
that.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But one thing that you said that was deep is the fact that sometimes you're the problem.
Mm.
Like you never see it that way. Like sometimes
Yeah,
you're
I get it.
always trying to
On
see
other
Blame the
oh,
other person. Yeah, always.
Yeah,
You always
it's
blame
too easy. I mean, it's innate. We're naturally always going to be like,
them.
what was
I'm
that person's
perfect,
fault?
yeah.
But it takes. I honestly believe, like, I know there's a quote by what's his name, Saint Augustine. It's to err is human, to forgive is divine. And I feel like a lot of the things that are not natural for us to do, like forgiveness or, admitting that you're wrong. I think it takes. Well, again, people can disagree if you're not a religious person, but for you to really fulfill that, I really believe that that's a divine thing. It's something that you can do that only by God's help, because innately you're not going to want to do this. Like if I had my own way without the Holy Spirit, and again, if you guys are not religious, we come from a Christian faith, so that's why we rely on God. Without God, then for me personally, a lot of things would go wrong. You wouldn't want to forgive. You wouldn't want to. You wouldn't even look at yourself and say, okay, do you know what, I could have improved there.
Yeah.
And I think, and you can, and on the other side, you can do that without being religious, but I feel like it takes a lot of effort, and the whole point of us doing it with God's strength is that it's something that we don't have to do by ourselves, whereas if you do it by yourself, okay, maybe a few times you could do it, but after a while it takes a toll on you. Do you know what I mean? Like you won't be able to do it.
In your own strength.
Yeah, in your own strength. That's what we personally believe. Obviously, you guys feel free to share what you believe.
One of the hardest things was understanding that we do things very differently and adapting. So, for example, where we push the toothpaste from.
Okay, that's not a problem.
Let me
in our marriage
finish.
anymore.
Let me finish.
That's not a
No.
disclaimer. Can you write?
Let me finish.
That's
No.
They've gone past it.
No, it's a good.
It's a
thing.
good
example.
It's a small thing.
It's a small thing,
but
That can become a big thing.
Exactly.
And
So,
manifest itself
not
in
anymore.
other
Not
ways.
anymore. Actually, to be fair, that's been resolved. But
So who won?
so
We do
when
it
we
this
first
way.
started, I like to push from the bottom because it just makes sense in my head. You push from the bottom, it goes up. Tolu, just push from the middle. In my head, it's just like I don't understand.
Who does that?
Yeah, he does
That's
that.
the way like I grew up.
Nana, you used to do the same.
I know.
So,
But I can do both ways. I've always done both, so I don't really care.
It just makes sense, to, go.
I know.
Anyway, we have our own toothpaste now, so it doesn't really
when we used
matter.
to share toothpaste. Right now we don't share toothpaste because she's on a different regime.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Too
Fair
fair.
sensitive.
But like when we went through it, there'll just be
It's always
times.
moaning at me.
No, I never used to moan.
Okay.
What I would do is just
I
correct the mistake. So literally, she'll push from the middle, and I'll start pushing from the bottom all the time. But obviously, it's just annoying. You see the from the middle. But it's just like I think it's a thing about learning. For me, and the same thing that you're saying, adapting. For me, I chose fight the correct battle.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. It's true. It's true. It's so
It's so true. You can't fight about everything.
Yeah.
You've been fighting the whole time.
Yeah.
And I think that's
Sometimes you turn the other cheek like you can't see it.
Some,
like you
I
never
actually
saw
feel
it.
like some marriages break down just because
Picnicking.
like you're literally trying to change, like you're trying to change
I
someone.
agree, yeah.
And the problem is when you're trying to.
No, you said picnicking. The camera.
Oh my days!
No, he said
I
picnicking.
never-
Sorry.
Oh, same thing, man. Sorry.
No. Oh, hold
No,
on.
not really. Because
We'll find out. We'll find out.
Yeah, you will find out.
I didn't hear picnicking.
You can't pick anything.
He hasn't told me. Oh my god.
Wow.
Pick anything.
That's what I'm saying. Some marriages actually break down because people think, I want to change the person.
Yeah.
I want the person to be the person who I thought in my head before I got married.
Or
Because,
before
you
we
know-
co-habit
Yeah.
together.
So you think, I want this guy.
reveals everything
I want him
else.
to be, like even if the guy's balling, he's got so much money, he's got like he
No
can
one's
take you
perfect,
anywhere,
though.
but then you still want to change
Change
that
something.
small
Yeah.
thing. Oh man, if only he would take the toothpaste and push
Yeah.
from the bottom instead of squeezing
Squeeze
it.
from the yeah.
And that one thing is the thing that breaks down the marriage, because then now you start to see all the other things.
Yeah.
And it just
Yeah.
it just literally compiles upon each other, and literally all you have to do is just say,
Yeah.
it's small. Let me just
So
see.
another thing that I've learned actually is dealing with that issue there and then, rather than
Yeah.
well, I do go different rather than, because one thing we've learned, and I guess with our mentors as well, what we've learned is, because he's heard us have arguments, and he goes, but that's not the issue. What you're arguing about isn't the issue. The issue is actually that. So it's like, so you've got all this surface stuff that you're arguing with.
The toothpaste is the surface.
Yeah, exactly. Toothpaste is the surface, but the real
that's
issue,
what I mean.
Yeah, you got to admit, is hair. So
Because
it's
on
like,
a normal
yeah.
day, if she would be like, oh,
Yeah,
you might just
yeah, exactly.
and it's
Yeah,
fine.
yeah.
Something
But
underneath.
because
Yeah.
we've built it up,
Yeah.
and it's
Literally.
toothpaste, is the dishes, is your shoes, and now we're arguing about
But you know,
put the paper on the right side.
Yeah, exactly.
for
Literally.
me, yeah. So I feel so.
But
in ours, we have
yeah.
two different things. So two different ones. So there's that thing for me. Yes, they pile up, and
Yeah.
it ends up exploding.
Yeah.
At some other point, but then at the same time, I feel like sometimes, and this is for me, anyways. I feel like sometimes you don't actually. I feel like you're being extra yourself. Sometimes
Yeah,
I have to take a step back and say, "Am
Is
I
it that
being
deep?
extra?
Yeah, I get
Is
that.
it that deep?"
Yeah.
And then
I
it's
get
only because you keep on thinking, is it that deep?
Yeah.
Is it that deep? Is it that deep? And then it's like, nah, bro.
I'm not having it.
Yeah,
I'm not having it.
that conversation that you have in your mind.
It's all
Yeah,
over.
yeah, it's
You're
your
prepared.
dialogue, yeah.
Literally, you prepared yourself to ball out. You're like, no, the
It's
next thing, the next one, the next one.
It's so true. It's so true. That
Yeah.
conversation, that
Trust me.
internal
Yeah, so
conversation
this
that
is
you
what
have.
you've
Dangerous.
been doing to me.
Ooh, I'll
And
tell
you know
you
what's
the
one of
truth.
the things is
I'll
like,
tell you the truth.
I think
I
it
did.
brings up your assumptions and the
Yeah.
conversation.
Oh, that's
you
another
Yes.
thing. Assumptions.
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 The narrative going on inside your head is probably one of the, like, if you stay there too
I
long.
won't even lie to you. The devil is evil. We'll play with your mind,
Fam.
bruh.
Yeah.
Like you know,
And it'll
I'll
be
be
your
one
voice
day,
as well.
Yeah,
It'll be
I'll be
your
one
voice.
day. I'll be sitting down, like, Nana will not say. She would not say that to hurt me. She would not say it
Yeah.
to hurt me. Then it's just like, it's just something saying, bruh. I can't believe she said that. She
Yeah, and then it's
said you're a dog.
Oh my god, that's what the enemy does.
You're a
That's
dog.
what-
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
She called you a dog. Even she told you a dog in Yoruba. Yoruba, bruh. And then now you're like,
Check the
nah.
last video for
And you're
this.
looking, you're trying. She wouldn't say to me. She wouldn't say to me.
Yeah.
She wouldn't say to me. She said it to me. She said it to me. Literally. And your mind is literally changing.
Literally.
And
Yeah.
and literally. And I get what you're
Bad
saying.
off your
Like,
mind, it reminds me of Joyce Mayo.
Yeah, and I was mind management. I think for me, I learned in being married is that I don't know how to manage my mind. I don't know how to manage those kind of things. Because sometimes when we have disagreements, like it's like, but you've made this, you've built this story in your head, and I've heard men say that before, that sometimes we as women have these stories in our head that goes on, we make assumptions, and as much as I don't think it's just
It's
women.
reacting to the assumptions.
And it's reacting to this, and I don't think it's just women. I think everyone can make
Yeah,
assumptions, but I've seen that it's like, okay, you've built this story, and then sometimes he'll tell me like, but that's not what, and it's like completely opposite to what I was thinking in my mind, and you feel silly like, because I remember one time he did something.
that's literally exactly the same discussions that we have, where I'll be saying that's not what I meant, but you're
No,
like,
I think that's
Yeah.
slightly different because
no, Nana will be like, you
I think that's
you
slightly
said this,
different
and I'm
because-
like, what? But I didn't even mean it that
Yeah,
way. Like,
yeah.
then I'll try to explain myself, and I'm like,
Yeah, I know. And it feels like he just
because
trying to get himself out of it.
I'm like, if you didn't mean it this way, then why did you say it? Do you get what I
I
mean?
get that as
Then
well.
say what you
The
mean.
issue
Don't
though,
say.
the one that always gets us jokes. Like sometimes Becca makes jokes. I'm like, but why would you say that? But I'm joking. But I feel
Oh
like-
my days! Exactly the same! And then
Why you guys are worried me joke like this?
I'm like, but it was a joke!
Sorry.
Nah.
And then
It was a joke! And the next thing I'm like, the joke's
Yeah, I know, right?
I'm like,
That's
it
like,
was just a
no.
joke! It was just a joke!
But I was smiling when I
But the
said
thing
it.
is, the Bible says that, you know, that you shouldn't say make a joke and then just say to your. It's in Proverbs. I can't remember where.
Is it?
No, seriously. The reason why I know that.
Right, it's all over.
I know, right?
No. He's like, they were ganging up, but look, I'm in the Bible.
I'm not ganging, but the reason why I know this
I said they were ganging up, but you're like, bring it out the word. I can't argue with that.
No, if you guys, I'll try that. You can put it underneath or whatever. But the reason why I know it is because I know that as a scripture for me. Because sometimes you can say, "Oh, I was joking," but you shouldn't. I think the Bible's kind of saying that don't make a joke that you have to now retract and say, "I'm joking." Because sometimes I think where was it in uni? Disclaimer, guys, we all went to the same uni. Thank you.
I went to Langston.
Minus-
Langston.
That's what I said. Us three.
That's actually.
But I remember someone said it in uni. Sometimes when you make a joke, is it 70% of it is true? Is that something like
Nana
that?
always-
People
Nana
always say
always
there's a
uses
truth
that.
in every joke.
Yeah, there's a truth in every. That's it. And
Not all the time, but
no, but the thing is,
sometimes, yeah.
since the uni, I've literally held on to that because I feel like I genuinely believe that sometimes Okay, I don't say 70% is too much of a number, but do you know what I mean?
I
I
get
feel
what
like
Sometimes,
there's
sometimes. I don't
There
think all
is
the
some
time, but
jokes.
some.
There is some jokes. If, like, for example,
I-
if I say, "Oh man, your hair is really afro," like you know,
Yeah.
and then that's it's like yeah, it
Yeah,
is
my
like-
husband.
Like-
Yeah, I get it,
yeah.
Like,
Like, why,
that
what's
joke.
wrong? Why?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Why is that
people
so?
make jokes like that, and yes, 100% like it's
Maybe
mostly
they
true.
wanted to tell you something. And
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah, exactly.
But then when they do that,
Okay.
it flares up because then you start to, because I felt it before,
Yeah.
like an honesty moment, when I feel like he makes jokes, it's almost attacking my insecurities. And I'm like, but you know that's an insecurity, so why would you make a
do
joke
that?
out? Do you
Yeah.
know what I mean? And
I
I,
wouldn't do that, babe.
no, I don't. It's exactly. I know you.
I am so gonna see me tonight.
Gotta win them brownie points.
Babe, hey, tonight's gonna be lit.
I am not cutting
Sorry,
this out.
guys. If you have kids watching, please.
I probably missed it anyway.
Wow.
No, it just
Okay.
stopped like 2 seconds ago.
Right.
I didn't listen.
But yeah, no, I feel like sometimes because if you have insecurities and someone makes, but in their mind it's in it. Well, I believe like
That's what you really.
you're not doing it to hurt me, but you've said something that has pricked me a bit, and I'm like, oh, that's an insecurity. So you should know that's it. But then that goes down to the thing of sometimes you as human beings, you may not know like what that person's really feeling. Like you might just be thinking, oh, I'm in a joking mood, but I might be thinking about something that's bothered me,
Yeah.
and then you've somehow made a joke about it, and then now it's an issue.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So
But I think,
I do agree
as I
with
said,
insecurity,
the most thing, and I think it's important for everyone, is just to know that the person I'm with would not do something to hurt me. Or at least you got together because the person wasn't a person who would hurt you. Unless if you go into a marriage where someone's beating you up, you got married and then the person starts all of a sudden beating you up or starts doing emotional, abuse to you. But like we all believe in Christ, we all like we're striving to have the mind of Christ, and therefore we're striving to be good, and therefore the person you're with, in theory, isn't trying to hurt you.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I think that's the one thing that I've literally in our marriage I've always been like I wouldn't do this to hurt you. Like if I hurt you, it's not because I want to hurt you. It's maybe I said the wrong thing at the wrong time.
The right words, the wrong way.
Yeah,
Delivery.
That's another thing.
That's a big thing.
That's a big thing in me because apparently I don't know how to control my mouth. My mouth.
You say that to me as well. But
Yes. Oh
you said
my
I didn't
gosh,
have
Nana is
So do you feel like you learnt that? Like
maybe
being
we're
married?
just the same then.
No.
Or do you feel like that's been amplified?
It's
probably been amplified.
after you've been living together.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's definitely
so
amplified. I feel like it's probably always there. It's just
Yeah, I think so. Before I actually thought about it, and I was like, we haven't changed as much.
Yeah.
The only main difference is it's gone from like you say something and I can go to my home and be angry in my house and not talk to you for like 5 hours, and then after 5 hours I'm like I need to get over it.
yeah. That's
So
probably
now
happening in the same
you're
house.
in my house, you're in my bed, you're in my face, like you're just there all the time. I can't be angry at you and you're trying to ask me. I can't even get like an hour of anger because you're like, what's
An
wrong?
hour of anger.
You're like, what's wrong?
You
What's
time
wrong?
it. You time it.
It's 1 hour.
1
now.
hour. It's true.
Back
You
to
can't
that.
get that space.
Yeah.
Anyway, I've got a quick question. So like, let's say I don't know, you're about to go into church together, but you've just had a massive argument. How do you, or like anywhere, or a party or a wedding, how do you then proceed? I'm just interested to hear what other people
Do you know what?
Man.
I'll put my hands up. I'm not the first person to try and make peace. I will gladly. On some occasions, I'll try and be like, okay, do you know what? Like, if we had an argument before here, we'll try and be like, okay, let's not, because you already know that when you bring that into someone else's environment, you'll pick it up. But he's more of the peacemaker than I am. I'll prefer to stew and ignore. I'll be honest. I'm not ashamed to say. Well, I'm not ashamed to say it, and I'm not saying it's
That's
honestly,
honestly,
yeah, but the thing that we will try and do that will, even if it makes us late, we'll have to resolve.
Yeah.
We have to.
And most times we've noticed we tend to get into the biggest arguments if we're going to do administration.
Yeah.
Like, so let's say we're going
That's
to
deep.
play somewhere, or she's going to say we're going to preach.
Yeah.
That's when I remember one time she was meant to lead worship somewhere, and we had the biggest argument. To the extent that I walked. This was like early on. To the extent that I walked out the house, and I remember going, thinking, what's going on? Like, I didn't, God, what's going on? This is not what I signed up for, kind of thing. Like, why are we having these mad arguments? To the extent she said, no, I'm taking train to the venue.
Yeah.
And this is, so we live in South London at the time, South East London. She was going to East London. I'm taking the train. And I'm thinking, in my head, straight away, I'm thinking, if people see us walking separate times, straight away, they know it. There's an issue there. Do you know what I mean? Like, so, and you're about to lead worship, and if she goes, comes in late, I'm not leading worship, straight away, that then changes the dynamic. So,
I wouldn't actually do it.
She fully would. And that's another thing. And I feel like the enemy knows, you know, if we're about to go and do God's work, by God's grace, things will happen in the spirit. Like, there's always that seed he drops, and then but we had to try. We trashed it out. I remember, and I rarely put my foot down as a husband. Sometimes I'm like, oh yeah. But this I said, no, tell you what, both getting into this car and we're trashing this out before we get there, and you're gonna like. I was like, I'm not having it, because I felt like no. I think we've given too much leeway for all of this stuff that we had to sort. Like, it had to be kind of nips and buds.
That's interesting.
For me,
I want to hear what you say, because I feel like you're going to say something completely different to me.
No, so for me, right, like, I've had times, and because I'm more in ministry than Nana is, so now when I'm at worship, I expect like don't enter the zone, don't disrupt it. Don't disrupt it, because I'm trying to cook up. I'm trying to listen to what God is trying to say before I get on to do anything. So now, or even if I'm not even cooking up, I don't want to get into a bad mood, because once you get in a bad mood, to get out of it, and I think because I've got into now, because Nana is of the premise similar to you. Resolve it straight away. So if she's angry, she'll tell me straight away. Like, I'm angry. She'll tell me what it's about. Like, she can't hold her tongue. And if she's upset, it'll show. Like for me, I can get out of it.
I know what's happening. I used to be able to hide my feelings. I can't do it.
Now she can't.
I literally cannot.
So for me, like, straight away, like, I think now I've become accustomed to the fact that God's work is God's work. No matter what mood I'm in, I have to do God's work. So when my aunt died and my nephew died, and like literally I was like, I'm leading worship on Sunday. I said I'm leading worship on Sunday, and it's because of something that Uncle Muiwa told me. Like, I think he lost his mom or dad.
I remember
he lost his mom or dad. And he was at an event, and he was told, and he said, and literally the pastor was like, found out. He's like, what? You could have told me. You could have told me that you were going through this right now. He was like, no, God's work is God's work. So no matter how I feel, God's work still needs to be done. So the fact that you thrash it out is actually important, because people still need to hear the word. People still need to hear what God has to say. So in my eyes, it's the devil trying to disturb
exactly. That's
in that moment. Because why would an argument happen in that moment?
It was, and it was something silly as well. Like, sorry.
No, you're right. I think you're right, because even when you resolve it, I feel like you can still use that as part of your administration to say, look,
like, there's no reason why anger should stop you from ministry. And in most times, I actually feel after I've sang, I feel so much better than before. After I've been in God's presence, after I've done God's work, I'm like, okay. Now I'm in a place where I'm like, okay, now I can see level-headed.
Exactly. I get that.
I feel like it's interesting though, because I feel like sometimes when we do have arguments and we're going to like a party or something, although we go in and we might not fully resolve it, it's so weird. I feel like being around people, after like maybe 5-10 minutes, I feel like sometimes we forget that we had an argument, because
so even when you get back in the car, do you feel like...
No, when we get back in the car, it comes back.
Really?
It always comes back. Maybe you haven't noticed it, you will always bring it up. Even if... You know, there'll be sometimes at the party.
But I feel like in that time, we're able to...
Yeah, in that time...
enjoy ourselves, and well, personally, I feel like I forget. Maybe we get back in the car and the atmosphere.
No, let me tell you.
I feel like
Nana did not forget. Because Nana... We're coming to the end of the party, right? And I'm already like...
I get that.
Here it comes. Once I get in the car, we're going to talk about the party for a little while. And then Nana's going to come up and say, you upset me this today.
What do you mean by it?
You don't agree. Maybe you just don't notice.
Maybe not.
Next time we have an argument, watch how long it takes you to take. You can't, like, it's not in your nature. It's just not in your nature. You can't hold things and say, okay, like, oh, it's fine. I'll get over it. Nana's like, straight away, like,
I don't know.
I see what you mean, but I don't like that though. I feel like, because I don't want to feel like, how you know at the party, like,
I honestly feel like I forget.
I always try and avoid
Anyway,
being
maybe
fake.
we'll have to.
Sometimes we might bust a joke. Well, Leke will try and bust a joke, but if depending on who it is, like if
Yeah,
it was
'cause
you
I
guys,
feel like I can't.
he'll be like, Leke will be like, "Oh, well, Tolly upset me," and I'm like, "No," and then we'll talk about the argument, and then usually it gets
usually.
squashed
Yeah.
like that. But
But we also try to be very open with it because I think another thing
When
that
you
might
try
cause
to
issues-
hide behind.
Yeah, it's when people hide and like and
why
so
do people do that? Though?
yeah, because
Like,
generally like
Maybe
Maybe it's
Yeah.
not everyone.
That's why
tries to
sometimes
be
if
perfect.
we've had an argument in the car, I'll bring it up. I'm like, yeah, we just had an argument, bro. and laugh about it.
Yes.
We're married.
yeah,
We live together. We will argue.
yeah,
we may
exactly,
argue
yeah,
on the
yeah.
way. Like,
It's true. It's a reality.
well,
isn't
why
it?
am I going to lie about it?
Yeah.
Like, if Nana's
People
upset and
feel
people will
stush about
see,
it.
people will
Yeah.
see.
Yeah,
But
people
I
will
don't know,
know.
maybe
Yeah,
it's because
yeah.
we live in a world and a day and age where everyone wants to present themselves as perfect.
yeah,
it's true.
Like, I have no wrong, or I just would never want to show anyone.
Or you don't want to
Yeah.
bring your
Yeah.
your marital things in public.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
also, and
which is
I get
cool.
why people also do it, because sometimes when you do open that gate for people, they feel like they have the right to now
Yeah,
tell
to
you
know.
what they
think?
think about your man. I do think I think you have to
Oh, no,
choose. There's a
yeah,
place
place
and
and
when.
people, yeah.
Like, for example, if I say to you
I
guys,
get that.
oh, blah blah blah, but I know if I say to maybe another set of couple, they might try and use it against
Yeah.
me and Nyasha
Okay,
in a
yeah,
certain
okay,
way.
fair
So
enough, fair enough.
I get it in
Yeah,
that
but I
sense. You
think
just
that's
have to
where-
be
But have you
careful.
That's why you need to manage your friends, and this is why it's important. I think the
But I
other
can
thing,
see
Maybe see
why.
how yeah, I get
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
I think knowing who your friends are is important. So I know
Yeah.
I can go to you guys and say, bro, we just had an argument, man.
Yeah.
And it's
And
just,
then, like, even if you guys started asking, oh, what was it about, and then we talk to you about it, you might even be able to give us advice.
Yeah, yeah.
And I trust you guys to do the same.
Yeah.
Whereas if you have one of those friends, right, who's like, you know, this guy is terrible and giving you
Yeah.
advice, he's gonna give you bad advice. So,
but I'll have that, fam. I'll have that.
You stir it up. You stir it up. So then now
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like, oh, so I guess it's the thing about knowing your environment,
Yeah,
knowing
I get that.
okay, what
Or
stages
like-minded people.
Thank God,
Yeah.
I haven't explored. By
Oh,
God's
I
grace,
haven't.
I haven't
Amen.
experienced that.
Amen.
Oh,
'Cause
just-
Everywhere.
but then that part of me is like, is it because we're actually, because we talk about this a lot, we think, me and Leke feel like that, you know, I feel like our age, people our age are still not as open.
Yeah.
But then it's funny because it's about that, you know, the group, well, the group chat.
Yeah.
It always calls the, I can't say the name.
Oh gosh, I wanna hear what- tell me after.
Yeah.
So guys, thank you very much for watching this whole
Part one.
marriage thing that we just made up on the spot because we're having good
Love the
conversations. But I hope you enjoyed having Tolu and Leke again, and make sure you like, comment and subscribe, and we'll see
Legends.
you next time. Bye.